Let's discuss the growth of Harcourts from 2009. I know we were the HomeNet group in 2009, and
That's
then it
right.
rebranded to Harcourts. Obviously, the Australian franchise and
Yes.
or Australasian franchise
Yeah.
came into South Africa. How did you manage to grow the business to where it is now from then? Obviously, you didn't join in 2000. You
No.
weren't there in 2009, but you came
I joined in
later on
2010,
and
yeah.
have played a big role in the growth of the company in South Africa.
So I mean, it was really interesting because obviously 2009, 2010 was just at the end of the global financial crisis. So there was like no money, the property market was decimated. It was a great time to get into real estate, but also full of opportunity. So we really had to have a big growth mindset at that stage. Harcourts was a new brand, sort of a mid-tier player because of the HomeNet link. So it wasn't a startup, but and so it was all about growth and, kind of getting in there with a growth mindset, embracing growth, getting everybody focused on growth. And I kind of looked at three big things that I had to get right, to maybe, and things that would probably explain our success. One was the team. So it was getting a great team around me that were all focused on growth, people who were not happy to just sit and be a middle of the range company, all wanted to be a bigger, better version of ourselves. So I surrounded myself with good growth people, and most of them are still with us, which is even better. And that
Amazing.
didn't just include my own team; it included franchisees of ours that had big ideas about growth and are still growing. So that was the first thing. The second thing was to have a good product. Obviously, it's all great to speak about growth and want to do things, but as a new kid on the block and someone who was a new brand, we had to make sure we were leaders in technology, leaders in skills development, leaders in marketing ourselves, and had to get all those things right. So we had to have a good product, that we could get out and attract people to come to Harcourts. Otherwise, hey, we were just another name. But probably the thing which surprised me and has probably been the difference between us and others has been our culture. It's kind of our secret sauce, the Colonel's 11 herbs and spices kind of thing. Our culture's been the thing that's probably given us the biggest boost in our growth. Harcourts is a values-based company. We've got strong values. It's probably the only company I've ever worked for. If you ask people what our values are, they can tell you. Normally it's just something on the wall that nobody knows. So we've got a strong value, strong purpose, people who live those values. And I think that's really been the glue that's pulled Harcourts together and made us a successful company that we are. We've, in the last 14 years, 13 years of those, have all seen an increase in market share. So we've grown our market share, except for the 1 year we did a bit of clean out. So we didn't grow that year. But 13 out of 14 years growing market share, which I think is just the testament to that,
So every year since the business has kind of started has been a better year than the year before. That's
I think market share is really important. People talk about growth and they go, oh, we did better, but the whole market maybe improved, so they did better. I think it's when you're growing market share, it means you're doing better than everybody else. And that's what we measure.
Okay.
It's been really pleasing that we've managed to do that.
And when you look at market share, how do you measure market share? Is it how many listings you have? Is it how many sales you're doing compared to other agencies?
So it's quite a few things. I mean, it's very difficult in our country as opposed to Australia and other places where Harcourts operate, where you can just see market share because it's public knowledge. Here you've got to kind of have a look at things. So we do look at listings. We look at our footprint. We do look at sales, although that's the difficult one to get. So we kind of have to look at where we can glean information from. But we do look at that. And then we look at Lightstone or one of the, what sort of percentage of the sales we've done of the total industry sales every year is probably the most accurate way to see market share.
Okay,
Because then what percentage of those sales that were done in the industry you did. And as long as that's going up, then your market share is growing.
Amazing. Wow. And I think you touched on the culture there as well, and for me that's one of the big things for me being at Harcourts is the culture. It's just so special. You go to events like the conference and you go to our regional awards and everybody's just so friendly and happy, and it makes such a big difference. And then when you go out and you live those values and you try to live those values every day as an agent, there's no way you're not going to deliver the best service to your clients.
It is something very unique, and it's not something you can buy. It's not something you can just create overnight. It's something that grows, and you've got to foster it, nurture it, and I see that as certainly one of the big parts of my role is to make sure that the culture is always protected and looked after. So yes,
for sure. And I think it's also something where you can always weed someone out very quickly. If they don't fit that culture, you can see it straight away.
Yes.
And yeah.
Our culture spits people out. You know,
Yes,
if
sure.
you don't fit into the culture, you won't last. It's simple as that. Yeah.
100%.
Indeed.